Okay, you're welcome back to my class. Today we want to look at C basic syntax, right? C basic syntax. Now we have installed the IDE, and then we have also installed the compiler, and you saw a demonstration of a C program that I showed you on the screen. So I'm just going to begin this process by explaining the C program that I ran in the IDE, right? So I'm looking at basic syntax. What is the syntax? Syntax of a language. These are just the rules, right, of how you are going to write the code so that the compiler will be able to understand and then interpret it. So every language has its rules. English language that we are using has the rule, and you have to follow that rule for anybody to understand what you are saying. So looking at C basic syntax, I'm just going to write that program and then explain some of it to you. Then I will do this. This is the preprocessor directive. This is a process that will have to take place before the compiler will start. Now in this one, I will say include, right? Include, then I will do my anchor bracket, stdio.h. This is standard input, output, the header file. Then after this one, I will say I'm going to write my main method, which is the main function. Now that main function is going to have a data type, which I'm going to explain to you. Then I have main is a function, right? Then I can come here and put my curly bracket, or I can put the curly bracket here. Then inside this, I am going to write printf. That was what we saw. And then double quote. Then I will put hello world. Then I'll put exclamation mark. Then I will do /n. I will explain everything. Then I will close this. Now, this is a statement, so it has to end with semicolon. Then I will come here, I will say return 0. Then I will have this one. Then this curly bracket, I will bring it here. I'll close it. So this curly bracket, this is the opening and this is the closing. Now, this statement is inside my main function. So this is the C program that you saw me execute when I loaded the IDE. Looking at this is the very simple syntax structure that I've written. I told you that this is a preprocessor directive. This will have to take place before the compiler will start. What this is simply saying is that the preprocessor will go to this header file, right? And it will load everything inside this header file into my source code. This is my source code. It will load it in. Why? Because there are functions that I need to use. An example of that is this printf. This printf is a function. So the preprocessor has to load this into my source code before handing over to the compiler. Now, I am writing this on the IDE. The IDE, if there's any error, will tell me. So that is what the priest that I told you, that the priest will help to ensure that the communication is intact, is correct, is meeting up with the requirement of the language. So it will look at this place, copy this into my source code, and then compiler will compile it. But there is a main function, which means every C program must always have this main function. Why? Because this is the door. When the operating system is going to hand over execution to the program to execute, what the operating system will do is it will look for this main function and then hand over to the program. So this is the entry point. This is the door. Every C program must have it. Now it is inside this main function that you now have your statement written. So you can either call a function from within this main function, or you print out anything from inside it. So like this one now, you have the main function, then you are opening the main function. While you are having this curly bracket, this indicates, this sign shows that it is a function, it's a main function, but it has a data type. I'm going to explain all these things to you. Now, this is a data type, integer. Now, why is it having a data type? When it finishes executing, it's going to return a value to the operating system that call it. That's why you're having this return here. So returning 0, 0 is an integer. It's going to return 0 to the operating system. And what this simply means is that I have finished my execution and there is no error. So it's telling the operating system, I've done my task. Now you can continue with your procedure. So I finished my task without any error. Now, and what is the task of this program? Just to print out hello world on the screen. Print out hello world on the screen. So it's going to print out hello world with this mark on the screen. So this is a function, a print function, printf. Now this printf, the declaration of this printf is inside this standard input-output header file. Right? Now, I told you when I explained one of my classes about the structure, I told you that the main implementation, that is the body of this print function, is not here. The declaration is what is here. There is another place, which is the library file, where it's going to load the implementation, which is the definition of this printf. So the linker does that. That's the process. So what you have here now is printf going to print out hello world on the screen. And then once that is done, the main function will return back to the operating system, telling the operating system that I'm done with my task. And what is it going to use to indicate that to the operating system? This 0 integer value. So this will generate a signal that the operating system will now use to know that the main function has executed. If there is an error, maybe the compiler could not compile, it will return with a different value. Now, this is a string literal, and a string literal must always be placed within a double quote, not a single quote. You only put a character in a single quote. So if I change this place to a single quote like this, I change this to a single quote, the compiler will throw me an error. Do you understand? So it's not matching with the syntax. It will throw me an error. So this place has to be what? A double quote. And then every statement must always end with what? With semicolon. This is a statement. This is a statement. So having multiple statements in one section will have to require what? The curly bracket. So this curly bracket is the reason why you are able to put these two statements inside this main function. And unlike Python language, you don't necessarily have to put this in the indentation. I can take this and put them on the same line here with this curly bracket. The program will still execute. But once it is too much, you will not be able to really read it and understand what you are reading. So even though indentation is not mandatory in C, it is still required for readability, right? So that is what I want to show you in this class. So in the next class, I will teach you all the component parts that we will use in writing a program in C language. So to see in the next class. Bye-bye.